Hey everybody, Alex Kazora, SteelersDepot.com, back with some Pittsburgh Steelers recap and analysis of their thrilling 9-3 loss to the Buffalo Bills in their second preseason game. Both losses for Pittsburgh in exhibition play so far. Let's talk about it. Before we start, if you guys could like this video, subscribe to the channel, and check out the site, SteelersDepot.com. Would really appreciate that. Yeah, this one, it was not the most exciting game to watch in the world. It was the first look at Russell Wilson, and unfortunately, not a great look at him or this first team offense. 5 series, 0 points, a bunch of punts, and a lot of sacks. And that's really where it began. I thought Pittsburgh was really poor on early downs. The run game didn't get going. Put yourself into a bunch of third and longs of the 6 third downs that Wilson and the first team offense faced. The average distance to go on third down on those occasions were 9.5 yards. The only one they converted was a 3rd and 2. A nice concept mesh sit where Van Jefferson sat with the middle of the field and Wilson found him for a conversion. But you're in that situation. You're in 3rd and long. Don't get in the rhythm. Can't get your play pass, system and calls in, and it really just backs you up from there. The O-line is where things started. Run blocking didn't look great, and pass protection certainly was a disaster in this one, man. Broderick Jones, I don't know if I mentioned it on my initial recap in my video like this last week, but going back to the tape, mentioned on the podcast that Jones did not look good against Houston, but it was kind of forgotten about. There weren't as many pressures allowed, the ball got out, etc. Obviously, one of the top stories in this one was the really poor player, Broderick Jones. He's got an elbow issue of some sort. He's had a brace, and you'll see it when you watch back the game on his right arm that he's had for most of training camp. So I have to imagine that is impacting him in some way, his punch, his technique, something. But regardless of reason and explanation, it's been really poor. And if that can't get better, if that's not good by week 1, it's hard to start that guy. And if Troy Fautanu can be healthy for week 1, which the reporting indicates he will, you may have to go with Fautanu at right tackle and Dan Moore Jr. at left tackle and allow Jones to heal. He's played through it. He's not missed a practice. He's tried to push through. I don't know the nature of it. Maybe it's something that just takes some time, and I don't know. But it's concerning for sure because it's not really been a good summer for Broderick Jones, an uber-talented, hardworking first-round pick who's not playing like it, clearly. And so that's where it starts. It's not only on him. The O-line in general was poor tonight. And there were even a couple of pre-snap penalties. Mike Tomlin talked about them playing cleaner, and they did overall. There weren't the fumbles and exchange issues, but you still had 2 penalties. You had a false start by Calvin Austin on the first drive, and then a holding by Darnell Washington later. And those put you into 3rd and 10 and 2nd and 14, respectively. Hard to win that way. Regardless of preseason and results mattering and counting, those are fundamental issues that you got to get cleaned up, and they're not done by pure reserves and the 90th guy on the roster. Austin and Washington, 2 guys that are likely or guaranteed to make this team. So that's where it started overall. It didn't get a whole lot better throughout. Justin Fields brought a bit of a spark, which you expect with somebody as mobile, athletic, and can create in a day where the O-line is not giving you much. And so there were some more positives with Justin Fields and Russell Wilson. But to me, nobody moved. Nobody, Wilson nor Fields, improved their cause in case. No one really put points on the board. It was a lone field goal by Boz. The only points that Pittsburgh got in this one, he missed the 52-yarder that clanked off the left upright. So it's just kind of a holding pattern based on the quarterback play. Fields in a vacuum, was he better than Wilson? Yeah, I think he was. Pretty safe to say, but not enough that's going to change the conversation in terms of the battle and who's starting and where those guys stand. Run game, unfortunately, some injuries. Jaylen Warren, a hamstring, that's among the most notable. Beyond that, Cordero Patterson got a bit of play, but not much to talk about there. I thought Michael Pirine ran well, caught the corner a couple times, showed more speed than what I saw in training camp. I thought Dejon Edwards has good contact balance power. He's a fun runner. Not gotten a ton of chances. Got a little bit more burned because of some of the injuries to Warren, and fortunately Jonathan Ward did not dress due to a hamstring injury suffered in the final training camp practice. Now, O-line, again, Jones, big issue overall. That's the main takeaway. I'll have to go through the tape to watch The other guy, Zach Frazier, getting the start. Nate Herbig, apparently a shoulder injury that happened during the Wednesday practice. It's apparently serious. Mike Tomlin said he's going to get a second opinion, which kind of indicates there's some serious nature to what the diagnosis or the initial diagnosis was. But Frazier, I don't know. I mean, Tomlin said it was passable, and so I want to watch the tape. It didn't look great as a run blocker. It felt like he was on the ground too often, but I got to go back and watch the tape. I really don't have a clean and clear evaluation of Zach Frazier. Fundamentally, though, snapped well. Wilson talked about him making calls, and so that's going to be your week one starter, Zach Frazier. Given the Herbig injury, certainly that'll cement Frazier into that role, and really his play probably is warranted it too. And that's kind of where things were going late in camp before Herbig went down. For wide receivers, Des Fitzpatrick made some plays, 2 catches, had that good concentration on that crazy scramble drill that Fields had late that got tipped along the sideline, made a tackle. Fitzpatrick did as well on the coverage team, and so that's good as he tries to state his case. Scotty Miller, a couple of catches, but I think that came towards the end of the half with some off coverage. Not a whole lot really else to note. Connor Hayward, a couple of catches, just the pass game, really just nothing happening. George Pickens made an unbelievable catch, even by his lofty standards, from Wilson that I thought he caught. Even on review, it's close, but I would argue that was a catch. But the refs said otherwise, and Tomlin lost the challenge. It was a good challenge by Tomlin. I would have thrown the red flag as well. It was worth it in that moment on that level of massive play there. But that's really the thoughts of the offense. It was bad. Is that indicative? Does that guarantee this offense will be terrible come week one in the regular season? No, it doesn't. Just in the way that the great offense of the preseason last year didn't continue those results throughout. But want to see more for sure. Defensively, at least they were good. And it's not like Buffalo was racking up the points. This was a defensive battle, and they had a veteran quarterback in old friend Mitch Trubisky, and Pittsburgh got their pressure. Nick Herbig, excellent. Larry Ogunjobi, a really strong game. Benton made plays. Killebrew, an interception. Kudos to him. The second half defense, they really struggled. The front seven did. The run defense was pretty poor, and Buffalo consistently won the point of attack. They rushed for well over 100 yards in the second half, and so we'll have to see some exact culprits, but I imagine that D-line of some backups like Logan Lee, and I don't know how much Leal. I think he was kind of working more outside linebacker than he was hand down. Marquise Spencer, Jacob Slade, those types of guys probably didn't have a great outing overall. Injuries here as well. Peyton Wilson being treated for a concussion per Mike Tomlin, so decent chance he's going to miss the finale against Detroit, but we'll see. Should be okay for week one. I don't have a great feel of his play overall. Secondary, let's see. Corey Trice got some dime work, and so they're going to try to look at him. Unfortunately, slot corner Beanie Bishop did not suit up. That was a surprise. Mike Tomlin said post-game that he had an issue for Thursday's practice, was limited, and Pittsburgh didn't want to push it with Bishop. And with Graylin Arnold on IR was Thomas Graham working a lot of slot corner in this one. Run defense didn't look great. Coverage seemed okay. Have to watch the tape on that one. Just overall, the run defense was poor. Secondary, run fits, tackling, finishing, bad across the board. And Buffalo really got to control the second half because of that. But at least it was the backups in the sense of you're not really counting on Anthony Averett, who had a hamstring injury, or Jalen Elliott or Kyler McMichael to be the anchors of your defense the way that some of the offensive starters struggled in this one that is going to bring a higher level of concern. So overall, dreary day in Pittsburgh, both the weather and the actual play of the Steelers. Pick up the pieces, really excited for the road game. I want to see this team on the road. I know preseason environments are not regular season environments, but Detroit, they'll have fans represent out there. And so I just want to see that environment because Pittsburgh's first 2 games of the year are on the road at Atlanta and at Denver. And so I just want to see how Pittsburgh responds in that environment, a little bit of extra challenge on top of the challenges they're facing that they've created by their own issues and mistakes. So we'll see who starts, who plays. If I'm Pittsburgh, I'm playing the starting offense a couple drives, at least, probably 2 or 3, to get these guys some work. They need it. They cannot rest on their laurels and just stride into week one, get as many reps as possible is kind of where this team needs to be at clearly. So watch the tape. We'll go through it. Disappointing, ugly, obviously, but no panic. Not going to freak out about how things are going, although I really am concerned with Broderick Jones. That's the one guy I'm going, okay, I'm really, stressing out about his performance, not just this game, but against Houston, the team's overall usage of him. These things that are coming together are all force multipliers of stunting development and growth, injury, position switches, not getting settled into one spot, all that kind of stuff is problematic here. Just poor play overall, technique waning. So that's got to get corrected, and that's something to watch going forward. Anyway, talking too much here. Wrap things up. Pittsburgh, tough loss. We'll see how things fare against Detroit next weekend. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Appreciate you guys watching. Please like this video. Please subscribe to the channel and check out the site, SteelersDepot.com. Ton of content, analysis, a la film rooms on here and on the site for you guys to check out. So would appreciate if you did. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll talk to you soon.